Um, I think honestly, if I think I've been writing for several years, and I enjoy writing, and I find it to be like an amazing outlet. And I don't always say a lot, and I think it's a time, you and an instrument is a time to be at your most vulnerable. Um, I think it's a lot easier to say something to an instrument than it is to say it to someone else. And I know for me, I find it very therapeutic to write and to be honest while writing. So I think I just don't know if I would have wanted to make an album that was anything else. I think I wanted it to be something that I haven't really said before, kind of a part of me that I haven't really shown before, and that was important to me. I wanted it to be honest, and yeah, I think I didn't know what the album was going to sound like when I started the process. So I think the only thing I kind of had to aim at was that I just wanted to be very open with it, and now I've kind of ended up in a place where I'm really happy with it, and I'm happy to be kind of sharing a different side of me than I have done before. It's exciting. It's hard. Every day that you get to work in music, I feel like it's impossible not to love the people who allow you to do that. Um, and I mean, it's amazing to have people who want to listen to something that you've made is the biggest compliment. And I think the thing that's really hit home for me a lot is making this album and then going performing a couple of these songs so far. Um, Seeing people sing it back to you takes you back to the moment of writing it, and to kind of see it go full circle is like a really cool experience. So, I mean, fans that I've known I've been very lucky to always know the most amazing group of fans, and I hope they like the music. It made me happy to make, so I hope that it makes a couple of people happy to listen to. So I've been working with a band. Two of the guys that I wrote the album with are in the band, and then there's three more musicians. They're amazing. It's been a lot of fun um, you know, working out what this album was going to be. In the studio was a lot of fun, and then kind of taking that and trying to work out how that's going to sound and be live has been a lot of fun. And I think it was pretty natural transitioning into rehearsing, because a lot of the studio experience felt like we were a band trying to work stuff out. We wanted it to feel quite like raw, so it's been good. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, they're the most amazing group of musicians. They're very obviously good players. They're amazing people, and it's made me, you know, love this album even more, getting to play them live. So I'm looking forward to playing the songs for people. I think it was important for me to. I just didn't want to rush it, because I knew that for me, I didn't know what it was when I started the process, so I wanted the time to be able to kind of make mistakes, and kind of go down a certain path for a couple of weeks or a month and be like, we have all this stuff, but that's not exactly what I want to put out. I think the last few albums that we'd made very fast and kind of on the go. We'd made them on the road while we were touring and stuff, and I think I just loved the experience of kind of making it with no pressure, and I love doing it that way.
This is the reason why you chose Jamaica, maybe.
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to. I didn't want people kind of constantly being like, I think it should be this, or I think it should be this. I felt like it was the fact that I didn't know what it was. I felt like it was so important that I worked out what it was before people started telling me what it should be. I mean, I think the thing with this one is that there was, I kind of worked out that sometimes you'd write a song and you absolutely love it, but you don't feel like it goes on this one. Even when it's not finished, it kind of, you finish a song and it just doesn't feel like this album, or you don't feel like you want to say that yet. So you definitely like have stuff back, and there's definitely songs that I wrote during the process that I think are right, but not necessarily right for this album. And in terms of it being short, I think I wanted to push myself to not have anything that I didn't feel like was good enough to be on there. And I just wanted it to be kind of 10 of what I wanted the album to be. And I mean, a lot of my favorite albums are 9, 10, 11 songs, and I always find myself finishing it and listening to it twice. And I think if my album was an hour and a half long, I wouldn't even enjoy doing that. I think he was really important for the album. I think he pushed me in a way that I don't think I've been pushed before, in terms of, bringing out what it was that I wanted to make. I don't think he really knew much about me, which for me was good in that he didn't come in with any kind of preconceived notions of what my album should be. I think with Jeff, he doesn't have like a set style. He very much goes with what the person wants to make. I think you don't look at any of the stuff that he's done and think, oh, it sounds the same. And I think that was cool for me going in, kind of thinking that we could kind of work out what my album was going to sound like together, rather than, I want his style and to kind of just redo that. But I mean, yeah, he was always very honest with me about when stuff wasn't good enough, and I feel like that's as important, if not more important, than telling you when something's good. He's also just very intelligent and very good at music, and pretty inspirational to be around in terms of watching a musician work. He's, I think I feel very lucky to have got to write around him for several months. It was one of my favorite kind of musical experiences I've had so far, is getting to work with someone like that in a studio for a long period of time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay. That was lovely.
Fantastic.
You're wonderful. I mean, I feel at home in England for sure. I think between being in Cheshire, where I grew up, and now being in London, is definitely where I feel most home. I've lived in London for about 7 years now, so it's always kind of been the place I come back to after traveling, and I hadn't really been to London. I'd never been to London before I moved here, but now it definitely feels like home for me. And Italy, I haven't been for a little bit, but I mean, we always used to just have the most amazing time when we were there. Touring there was unbelievable. We did our DVD concert there. It was amazing. The fans were always amazing. I've been lucky to make a couple of friends in Milan over the years of traveling, and it's pretty amazing. One of them has his own olive oil, and it's really good. Having a song that I'd written, and having these 26 gospel singers with a conductor and me sitting there, it just felt like it was growing into like its own thing. To have been part of a moment that means something to someone enough for them to write a song about it is a huge compliment. I think I like the writing part the most, and what inspired it. I don't know really. I think it's hard to not have influences from like what you grew up listening on. I think that's kind of. I think everyone reacts differently to like different types of music, and then really, I think I don't know. I was with like the guys I was writing with, and we just wanted to make like what we wanted to listen to.
Right.
And I think that's been the most fun part for me about making the whole album is it's like at the moment, I mean, in the least weird way possible, it's like my favorite album to listen to at the moment. Like I love listening to it.
I think that's how it should sound.
I think so. I think like if you put out something that you don't like stand behind and really love, then if it doesn't go well, then you could regret not doing what you wanted to do. Whereas, you know, if nothing happens with it, I love it. So I think that's kind of what you should do.
Yeah.
But I think that's been my favorite part of the overall thing is kind of listening to the album and making all the changes, and it's been fun to kind of like watch over it all.
I think there's a few. I think more so, you know, than one story. I think it's very much a piece of me that I haven't shared or talked about before. So I think the album's very much a snapshot of me more so than it is about anyone else. But I think, you know, like I said, I really didn't know what it was going to be when I started writing it, and it finished in a very different place than it begun. And I just had so much fun working out what it was that it was going to be the whole time, and that changing the whole time was really fun. And now I've ended up with something that I love listening to. I'm proud of. I'm also, you know, found it very therapeutic to write and be vulnerable while writing. And I think if I'd made anything other than that, I would have been disappointed in myself.
Do you live life and then sit back and process what you just lived through and then write music? Do you write as you go? What is your style?
I think it's kind of all of it. I think very much all of the above. I think sometimes, you know, sometimes stuff happens and it's pretty hard to process, and a lot of stuff is easier to kind of think about much further down the line, and sometimes it's easier to literally get home from something that happened and sit down and write about it.
Yeah.
I think it's so different. There's kind of all sides of the scale. You know, sometimes you sit down to write, and what's the first thing that you think about? Oh, it's something that happened to you 4 years ago that you hadn't thought about for a while. You know, I think it's really amazing to kind of just let that happen. I feel like it's often much easier to say something and talk about something to an instrument than it is to a person. And I found making this album incredibly therapeutic, getting to, you know, allow myself to be vulnerable and think about things that I hadn't thought about for a long time, or things that I maybe had kind of tried to forget or not, or, you know, I think just being open is always good.
Was it nervous for you to be open and to go into the studio with, you know, your feelings literally on a paper or in a phone?
Yeah, I think it's I was really lucky to find a group of people that made me feel comfortable enough to do that. I don't think I wanted to do anything else with the album. I really wanted it to be honest. And I was lucky enough to find a group of people who created an environment where I felt like I could just be vulnerable with them all the time. And I think once you get through the first couple sessions, you know, you start to strip away any feelings of, you know, censoring yourself or anything away. And then that's usually when the best stuff comes.
Is there any part of this music making process that you look at or respect differently now that you're solo that maybe you didn't respect or look at before?
Honestly, I think I've always loved the touring part of working in music, and I've always loved performing so much. The last few One Direction records we made kind of on the road in between shows, which was amazing, obviously for different reasons. I think this time, not rushing and having a chance to really immerse myself in the process and feel like I was learning a lot as it was happening. I really felt like I fell in love with the other side of music. I really felt like I loved being in the studio every day and working on stuff and trying to work stuff out that, I know I don't understand as well as other people. And it was really fun to just kind of learn as we were going. So, if I'm honest, I'd say I fell in love with the studio side.
That's awesome. And that's really special.
More so than I had before. Yeah, it does feel special. Yeah, it feels like, something that I now love. I'm now writing more than I ever have before, and I'm playing more than I ever have before. And it's cool to kind of be in a place where I just love writing, and I'm writing all the time. So, being mentioned in the same breath as that song is a huge compliment. I just wanted to write stuff that was for me and what I feel sounded like me and was that I wanted to say and listen to. And I feel really happy with it so far.
Oh, it's going to be one of those kind of things,
Yeah.
is it? It's going to be
I'm
those.
gonna get
I'd
to the
say
meat of this.
I'd say Finn is worse than me.
I'm a pretty terrible morning person. I don't like mornings.
Are you just quiet or are you grumpy?
Tired, yeah. Just tired in the mornings. It's tiring getting up, isn't it?
It is.
I'm not too bad, so I'll take that one, I think.
You're crazy in the mornings, man. You're just so energetic. I can't keep up, man.
It's motivating. I'm gonna watch a rom-com in my room. Then I'm gonna go to bed.
I actually don't know. I think the thing that's important to remember is it's not always necessarily the first thing that you might think of, but I obviously would never tell someone that what they thought was wrong. I think the best thing about music is that everyone can take away different things from stuff.
It's different to every ear.
And that's not wrong. There's not really a wrong answer. I feel like a lot of my favorite songs that mean something to me, I'd be disappointed if someone told me that they're about something else. It might ruin the song for me. So, I think Sweet Creature is definitely about one person. I think it's important to remember that, there's many different types of things that could be about, a person. Yeah. Know what I mean?
I think, most of our time on set was together, and we actually auditioned together as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of full circle. Me and Finn are joined. I've always been a massive fan of, movies and actors, and, there's so much of things that I've watched that I feel like, when you're younger and you watch it, it kind of shapes you, I guess. So I did a little bit of it when I was younger, I think, with this. When I heard about the project, it just sounded so exciting, and obviously the prospect of getting to work with Chris was incredibly exciting. And now I just feel very lucky to have kind of been involved and get to be a part of something so amazing. I think getting to watch it now, I feel very, very proud of it. And today was a good day. Felt really good.